Hey guys, it's Bladescribe back with more Genshin Impact. As promised, this video is a guide on how to evaluate the characters in Genshin Impact. First of all, credits to Mihoyo to create characters that aren't that straightforward or easy to evaluate like Child. Nevertheless, I think these tips will help you think about how to utilize the characters that you currently own. There will be 3 methods: fast, medium, slow. Very simply, if the quickest method of evaluation doesn't work, you're going to have to progress into the slower methods. Let's start with the fast method. You want to look at the character's skills and filter them using these 3 questions. 1. Does the skill require you to be on the field for an extended period of time? 2. Does the skill persist even when you are switched out? 3. Does the skill have any potent healing? These 3 indicators will lock them into either of the 3 roles: DPS, support, healer. Let's take a look at examples of skills that lock the characters into these archetypes. The first one, DPS. For this, I'm going to use Razor. Specifically, let's take a look at his ultimate skill. It says, these effects end when Razor leaves the battlefield. So when you take a look at this clip, Diona's Chaos and Facial skills are still contributing to the battle even when they are not on the field. Whereas Razor's ultimate can't make any contribution until he's active. That's when you know he should be the DPS. Next, let's take a look at support. Now, support is a huge umbrella term and is probably why people struggle with figuring out if the characters are meant to be DPS or support. At first glance, because this term is compared with DPS, people may be tempted to think that it means that these characters are characters that don't contribute much in terms of damage. But it is not so. Simply put, support characters are characters that will lend their contribution to the DPS to increase the DPS output. Sometimes it simply means helping the DPS apply a different elemental aura so that the DPS can do a reaction attack, like when Chongyun supports Bennett. The main thing here is Chongyun's field will help Bennett apply cryo to the enemy so that his E skill will react into melt. Other times, supports are there to cause even more damage to the enemies alongside the DPS like Fischl or Xingqiu. Okay, that's enough of a detour. Let's go back to the fast way to identify support characters. The main question you want to ask is, does a skill persist even if you are switched out? For example, Chongyun's E skill has a field duration of 10 seconds. It means that while you're not using him, you can still take advantage of the field for 10 seconds. This skill is usable as a support skill. Lastly, for the healer, you have 2 questions. 1. Does the character have decent healing skills? 2. Does the character have little inclination towards damage scaling? Now, the second question is important because some characters in the game are clearly designed for damage dealing, but Mihoyo has decided to give some minor healing skills as well. It's a trap to turn these characters into healers. So let's go through an example of a healer using the fast evaluation method. Barbara. Both of Barbara's skills heal and her healing scales off her HP. It means ideally, when you build Barbara, you should buff her HP. On top of that, there is little hint that her skills are designed towards damage. Now, the problem with the fast method is that a lot of the characters in this game can be used for more than one role. That's the beauty of this game, right? Not all characters are designed to be flexible, but many of them are. This is what makes optimization fun in a gacha game like this, when you don't necessarily have all the characters. Some constellations can improve the viability of a character into being a better support or a better DPS. That's where the medium evaluation method comes in. Let's take a look at Chongyun here, for example. Chongyun's first constellation improves his auto attack damage significantly. At Constellation 0, maybe he is best used as a way to apply cryo in melee setups, but at Constellation 1, you can actually consider him to be the main DPS too. Sometimes, the constellations can act as a hint in terms of how the character can be played. As the higher the constellations go for Chongyun, the more value he has being on the field. That said, the optimal way to play a character may be different at Constellation 0 and Constellation 6. Other than constellations, we can also take a quick look at the character's talent, especially the Ascension 4 talent, the one you unlock when you ascend past level 60. In this example, we look at Ember. This talent is exclusively useful only for when Ember makes aim shots. It means that Ember has to be on the field. It means that whether you like or dislike Amber, based on her talent, a build Amber seems to hint that Amber has the potential to be a DPS character rather than as a support character. Does it mean that you can't play her as just a support character? No. But it does mean that if you play to her strengths, she will give you better returns on your investment rather than when you build on her weak areas. Now that we have gone through the fast and medium methods, we come at last to the most difficult method, the slow method. There are 3 parts to this, starting from the easiest, community ratings. This is easy to scan, but the way people rate characters may be wildly different, so always take things with a pinch of salt. The second one is becoming familiar with the game's endgame content. It means getting to know what the Floor 12 or Spiral Abyss has in store. If there isn't any way for you to access this information in-game, you can take a look at YouTube or other websites. And spoiler alert, the game currently favors Pyro characters, so Pyro characters tend to be more valuable. But this is of course subject to change as the game expands. The last method is the most difficult method in the slow method, and that is frame counting. This is basically counting how long does it take for a character to land his attacks and for how much damage. That way we can actually rank their own field performance objectively. This is especially relevant to know who are the most viable DPS characters in the game. Frame counting itself can be on the very basic combo strings to counting rotations. So the process can be relatively fast, or you can take a while to crunch the numbers. I did a very quick sample of these 4 characters and came up with these figures. Interesting to note how competitive Chong's attacks become when he has unlocked the first constellation. Despite all this, I am going to do a special section here for a character that isn't obvious, and I think this is what makes Genshin Impact interesting for the likes of us who like to experiment around. Now, I'm going to talk about Noelle. First of all, let's take a look at her skills. Her ultimate is a skill that requires her to be on the field, which is a DPS trait. Her E skill has a high cooldown with no energy regeneration. The shield itself is a sign of a support, but it doesn't even generate energy, so it's not a great support skill. And then Noelle can heal, but the heal actually scales off defense. So what does this all mean? Because her ultimate requires her to be on the field, it actually means that she's a candidate that is meant to be DPS. But because she also has healing capacity, and because we are not given any other characters that can heal for free other than Barbara, people flock into building Noelle as a way to heal their party. But the fact is that Noelle is a poor healer because the healing requires Noelle to be on the field. The healing uptime is poor because of a high cooldown, and her ultimate is wasted as a character that is only used as a healer or as shield breaker. Compare her to the other healers, they only need to press E or Q to activate their healing, and that's it. They don't have to steal too much time. So from all this, I believe that Noelle is designed to have a team built around her. That is why you'll hear the term Noelle battery comp, meaning the entire team is there as a battery, which is energy builder, so that Noelle can have as much ultimate uptime as possible. With Noelle's capacity for healing, it just means that Noelle can help make sure that the entire party is healthy. Her shield enables her to be a tank, while the rest of the team that supports Noelle can recover their HP if they get hit, which is unlikely because their active time on the field should be minimum. This is how Noelle can heal effectively, by being a tank DPS healer. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it all up. Let's go through the 3 methods again. The fast method, observe skills to categorize character's role, which is DPS, support or healer. The medium method, look up constellations and talents. They may show whether the character leans more towards DPS or support. The slow method, look up community ratings, prepare for the most difficult contents in the game, look at number crunching that has been done, or count frames on your own. That's it from me. If you find the video useful, please leave a like. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and subscribe for more Genshin Impact. Have a good one, guys.